Hi friends, my name is Kim Anderson. Welcome. I'm really glad to have you here so we can do a bit of movement together. And just two things before we get started. One is if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then definitely do that because I have new classes that come out each week, and that way you'll be able to see the new ones as they pop up. And number two, I forget number two. Number two, if you have any feedback, then please leave it below in the comment section. I've also linked to Facebook and Instagram so you can reach out there as well. And honestly, I would love to hear from you. So if you have suggestions, comments, anything, just put them in and I will get back to you. And for today's practice, we're going to focus on flexibility. So before you turn this off and run away, so many people have actually told me that they don't even approach yoga because they're not flexible. And yoga helps flexibility. So if you're not flexible, it's the perfect reason to try yoga. So we're going to use a couple of tools today. The most important one being a strap. And if you don't have a strap, then you can use the belt of your bathrobe. Perfect. And probably even looks more fun than my old gross strap. And if you don't have a bathrobe, then you can also just use like a scarf. And it's just a long scarf. If you do have two yoga blocks, you can keep them close by, and you might use them, you might not, but at least if you need them, they're close. And get your things together, and I will see you on the mat. So once you make your way to the mat or the carpet or the floor, wherever you have chosen to practice, we're going to get started lying on our backs. So gently roll yourself onto your back and choose whatever position feels most comfortable right now with your legs. You can extend them out, or you might choose to keep your feet the width of the mat and just let your knees gently drop in against each other. Or you might choose to unite your feet and let your knees drop open. So whatever works for you today. And you can bring your hands to your belly, or you can open your arms up wide. This is just a moment of stillness that serves in order to help bring our awareness and our focus inward. As you begin to breathe more deeply and more slowly, become aware of the weight of your body and really note your mat or the ground underneath you and how it's holding you up. It's not going to let you go anywhere. It's got your back. So allow yourself to begin to slowly peel away that resistance and feeling how your body is able, bit by bit, to start to relax and drop more deeply against the ground. Just like when you lay down on a really comfortable mattress and you literally feel yourself sinking into it. Try to feel that sinking sensation here. Notice that your breath is coming in more smoothly, more slowly, more deeply. And allow this rhythm of your breath to let a sensation of calmness just wash over you. Peeling away those layers of resistance, even in your face. Feeling everything smooth out. keeping your body where it is. Take a deep inhale into your nose. Feeling everything open up, feeling that space in your chest and your belly and filling it with air. And then open your lips and exhale everything out. Begin to gently come back into your breathing, steadily in and out through your nose as you draw your knees in toward your chest and bring your hands onto your knees, hug them in. And from here, rock from right to left. So massaging in a delicate and loving way your back. Your eyes can still be closed. As you come back to center, begin to now press your feet up toward the ceiling and flex your feet. So your toes are gently pulling down in the direction of your shoulders. Feel your tailbone still resting on the ground, and begin to separate your knees, widening them apart, and then beginning to bend your legs. So your knees begin to make their way toward the outside of your ribs, and wherever your legs go comfortably, stay there, and then just let your hands come onto your shins. Your elbows are on the inside of your knees, and you can use the leverage with your hands to gently coax your legs a little bit further down. So bringing your knees just a teensy bit closer to the mat. Continue to keep your feet flexed and activated, and the soles of your feet are facing the ceiling. Now here, you might want to just keep your hands on top of your shins. If you can arrive to the side of your feet without your tailbone lifting up, then go ahead and do that. And continue to gently push with your elbow on the inside of your knees to feel a little bit more widening on the inside of your thighs. And then ever so gently, relaxing your shoulders and relaxing your face, begin to rock from right to left. Again, this is a self-massage, nothing too extreme. And then come back to center. And from here, gently let go of your feet or your legs, whatever you're holding, and push your feet up to the sky. From here, flex your feet again and gently pull your toes down. So in the direction of your body, laying on the mat. Hands come behind your thighs and begin to pull your legs gently toward you. Now feel your tailbone remains glued down to the mat. So here, when you gently pull your legs, you might feel that your tailbone starts to lift. If that's the case, then just back off a little bit. Try to glue your tailbone down, keep it pressing into the mat, and then again, use your hands to pull your legs a little bit closer to you. Now the inside of your legs are activated and pushing together. So your big toes are pushing together, toes are spread wide, and if your hands can slide up a little bit and come to the outside of your calves, then you feel free to do that. If not, just keep them behind your thighs. This is a gentle lengthening in the back of your legs. Keeping up with our deep, slow breathing in and out through our nose. And now releasing your legs, coming back up with feet up toward the ceiling. Let your hands slide behind your thighs and rock forward and backwards, just 2 or 3 times. And if you want to skip this, you can just come right up to sitting, cross your legs, and roll over onto your hands and your knees. Check your alignment. So we're looking to have our wrists directly below our shoulders and our knees directly below our hips. You can lengthen out your feet and try to activate the top of your feet. So it lifts that crease right on top of the ankle. When you push your feet into the mat, you'll feel that that crease lifts up a little bit, and try to keep that. activate your hands, spreading your fingers wide. And on an inhale, begin to drop your belly down, pull your heart forward, feel that your bum is widening toward the back of the mat, and you're really trying to pull your heart toward the top of your mat, lengthening out your throat, soft face. On an exhale, your butt will lead the way as it drags you toward your heels. Feel the activation in your feet. You're really pushing the top of your feet down. And you slide your way back toward your feet. Inhale, rounding your spine, letting your gaze drop between your knees. Come forward until your shoulders are above your wrists. And when you get with your shoulders above your wrists, your belly starts to drop as you look forward. And again, slink your way toward your feet. Doing this with your breath 2 more times. Inhaling to come forward. Exhaling, keeping the core activated and sliding our way back. 1 more time. Inhale. And 1 more time. Exhale. Now from here, come forward onto hands and knees. Push your toes into the mat and then lift your hips and walk your feet toward the top of the mat. Feet parallel, hips distance apart, and coming into Ragdoll. So keeping your knees bent, just let your head drop toward the mat. And you can take a hold of your elbows with your hands if you'd like, or you can just leave your arms heavy, hanging down. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Keeping your face soft and dropping also any expectations that you have. Make sure that your mind is completely open. We're accepting whatever comes. Inhale, placing your hands on the mat below your shoulders. Lengthen your spine. Push the crown of your head forward and your tailbone back. Exhale, lift your right foot. Lengthen it toward the back of the mat. Gently bend your left leg and come onto your right foot and then your right knee. Coming into low lunge and placing your interlaced fingers on top of your left thigh. Now, you can begin to activate your left heel backwards toward the back of the mat, your right knee forwards. And if you ever need some cushion below your knees in this position, then you can fold up a towel or a sock or something underneath your knee. That's perfectly fine. Try to keep your shoulders parallel toward the front of the mat. Lift your belly away from your thigh by pushing a little bit into your hands. Always really gentle with these pushes and pulls. Let your whole pelvis begin to shift forward. So getting some good lengthening in our right hip flexor. Keep breathing deeply. And then from here, we're going to start to slide our hips back, lifting our left toes and bringing our hands toward the mat. This might be a good place, if you have yoga blocks, to use them underneath your hands if it doesn't feel comfortable to reach the mat with your fingertips. So you always have that option. Now, here you want to keep your bum lifted up. So we're not looking to have our bum directly on our heel. We want to do this so we can keep the left leg active, a little bit bent in the left knee, and really strongly pushing the left heel into the mat and dragging it back. So you're going to feel that that moves your left hip in the direction of the back of the mat, and that's what we're looking for. But at the same time, activating your hands, pulling them toward you so you can try to pull your heart toward the front of the mat. Relax your jaw. And then on an inhale, replace your left foot on the ground. Lift your right knee. And then walk your hands to the middle of the mat, turning your feet parallel and really pushing into the outside edge of your feet. So for stability, you might find that it helps to keep your toes slightly in and your heels slightly out. Bend your knees a little bit. On an inhale, pushing your bum backwards, lengthen the crown of your head forward, get some spinal length. And then on an exhale, begin to fold forward, bringing the crown of your head toward the mat. Let your head drop heavy. Feel the lengthening in your spine and try to lift your tailbone up as you firmly push the outside edge of your feet into the mat. Inhale, coming back up to center. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders, and then from here, coming onto your toes, rotate your heels toward the inside. So your feet are almost in a straight line, your heels and your toes, and bring your hands onto your thighs. Lift the crown of your head up, and from here, growing your spine tall, lifting your head up, but feeling that you're able to lower your bum toward the mat. Inhale to grow in length, and then exhale, begin to push into your right hand and start to look over your left shoulder. So you'll feel a deep and intense lengthening in the inside of your thighs. Inhale to come back to center and lengthen again. And then on an exhale, pushing into your left hand and beginning to rotate to look over your right shoulder. Continuing this entire time with our deep breathing. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, you're going to bring your hands to the mat. From here, walk your hands to the back of the mat. Lift your left heel and sink down onto your left knee. Inhale, coming into low lunge with your hands interlaced, your fingers interlaced, and resting on your right thigh. So as we did on the other side, you want to activate your right heel back, your left knee forward. Begin to lengthen in your arms so you're bringing your belly a little bit farther away from your thigh. Lifting your heart up to the sky, keeping your chest squared forward. And letting go of any tension that you've got carried in your jaw right now. On your next inhale, you're going to release your hands. And then exhale, begin to shift your hips back, lifting your right toes and bringing your hands to the mat or on top of two blocks. Soft bend in your right knee, pulling your right hip back, lifting your toes, and really digging down with your right heel into the mat. Trying to drag your hands back as you're pulling your heart forward. So we're still looking for spinal length, even though we can definitely feel that we're lengthening our hamstrings here. Maybe spread your toes really wide. And it can be fun to explore. You can maybe rotate your foot from right to left just to feel. On an inhale, bring your right foot back down to the mat. And again, we're going to lift our left knee and walk our hands to the center, paralleling our feet. This time, you might want to keep your feet a little bit closer than they were. So wider than hips distance, but not quite as wide maybe as they were in the forward fold. And bring, again, your heels toward the inside and your toes toward the outside. But this time, very carefully, place your hands on your ankles, and your elbows are going to go on the inside of your leg, your knee, and begin to lengthen the crown of your head forward as you hold your ankles and push your elbows into your knees to get a nice widening in your inner thighs. So we're not folding forward, we're staying up and pushing our head in front of us. Lengthening our head in front of us. We would like to keep our head attached to our bodies. That would be a good thing. Crown of the head pushing forward, bum pushing back, elbows gently trying to wiggle your knees a little bit farther apart. And then bring your hands back down and parallel your feet again. Inhale, lengthen your head forward as you lift halfway, lengthening your bum back. And then on an exhale, walk your hands to the top of the mat, rotate your feet, and step forward with your right foot, bringing your feet parallel again. And for a moment, coming back into Ragdoll. This time in Ragdoll, you might want to interlace your fingers again and bring them behind your head. So the heels of your hands are pushing into each other and they come right to the point at the nape of your neck where your neck and your head meet. And then just letting your arms fold in toward your ears and letting the weight of your arms bring your head a little bit farther down, together with gravity toward the mat. Gently release your hands, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. From here, bending into your knees just a little bit. Exhale, bring your hands to your waist. Now, again, pushing the crown of your head forward. Begin to push your tailbone back. Feel your spine nice and long, keeping a soft bend in your knees. Begin to draw your elbows closer toward each other behind you. And then from here, on an inhale, lift yourself up, hinging at your hips to come into a standing position. Begin to feel your weight shift to the left foot. And inhale, lift your right leg, grasp your fingers in front of your knee, and begin to gently draw your knee toward your right knee toward your right armpit. Breathe softly. Now, leaving your leg where it is, release your hands and open them out to the side like a cactus. From here, keeping your foot flexed and your right knee bent, you're going to turn it and bring your ankle on top of your thigh. So here you're making like a number 4 with your legs. And then bring your hands into prayer in front of your heart. So keep your foot nice and active in this position. So it's going to stay flexed. Spread your toes wide. Begin to bend your left leg and keep pushing strongly your right ankle into the top of your left thigh. And as you do this, you're pushing your tailbone behind you. Your heart is pushing toward your thumbs. Try to give your neck some space by lifting the crown of your head up and pulling your shoulders back. So here, super, super important to smile because we tend to have kind of that grumpy face when we go into a little bit of a more challenging and more intense position. Inhale, come back up, bring your right knee in front of you, and then gently set your right foot down. The weight is going to now go onto your right foot, and if you want to shake a little bit to kind of release some tension, then you're free to do that. And then make your way onto your right foot. Begin to lift your left knee closer to your left armpit. Interlace your fingers, and they will help to guide your knee in that direction. Keep your left foot activated or doing something, spreading toes. Make sure that it's not just hanging there loosely. And then as you're drawing your left knee in, find a fixed point to stare at on the ground. It's going to help with your balance. And then see about releasing your hands, and maybe your leg can stay where it was. Keeping your left foot flexed, gently place left ankle on the top of the right thigh. Hands come into prayer. Feel all the shakes and quivers and begin to push your bum behind you as you push your heart forward and you begin to sink down. But as much as your body is sinking down, your head is floating up. Pushing your heart toward your thumbs, shoulders back, some space in your neck. And then gently begin to return back up, bringing your left knee up for a moment and then bringing it back down. Now from here, bring your feet a little bit farther apart. So we're looking to be a little bit wider than hips distance apart, turning heels slightly in and toes slightly out. And we're going to come down into a squat for Malasana. Now, you might want to keep your hands on the ground as support, and that's perfectly fine. You also might find that your heels are not touching the ground, and if that's the case, it's okay. Just keep them up. And if it helps, you also can kind of wedge in a block underneath your heels. If your heels are touching and you do feel comfortable lifting your hands, then lift your hands, bring them into prayer, pushing your palms into each other. You can feel, again, that leverage of your elbows against the inside of your knees, and begin to lift your head up toward the sky as you feel your bum heavy, heavy, heavy down toward the ground. So again, this is a really great lengthening for our spine, really intense in the hips. Relax your jaw. If you would like, you can start to even rock from right to left if you're feeling that. If not, then just stay still. Coming back to the center, take a deep inhale, feel that length in your spine. And out of your mouth, exhale everything out. Now bring your hands behind you and come to sit on the ground, bringing your feet in front of you and locating your strap or bathrobe, belt, or scarf, or whatever you're using as we begin to lay ourselves down on our back. With knees bent, begin to lift your right leg up to the sky. This is where we will take our strap or belt and place it across the sole of your foot. And you can keep your hands, one hand on each side, and begin to gently pull your right leg toward you. Now, as you do this, feel that your bum, your tailbone, remains firmly planted on the ground. And if you feel like you're not quite getting enough stretch, you can just roll the strap around your hands and then pull and feel that you're getting a little bit deeper into it. So keep your right foot nice and active. Try to really illuminate your toes, separate them. Feel your shoulders making their way back toward the mat. So you don't want your shoulders to lift up to reach up toward your leg, but keep your shoulders down and bring your leg toward you. Now from here, take the two straps both into your right hand. So both sides of the strap are in your right hand. And begin from here to place your left hand on your left hip and lengthen out your left leg. Now, if this is too much, then just keep your left leg bent. That's fine. But it's important to feel that your tailbone remains on the ground and that your left leg, if you do lengthen it out, remains on the ground. So really activate your left heel into the mat and keep your left hand on your left hip to make sure your left hip stays on the mat. Again, gently use your right hand to pull your right leg toward you. And then on an exhale, begin to softly drop your right leg open. And no tugging, no pulling it where it doesn't want to go. Just let it drop open. You can use your hand to try to pull it in a little bit further, but when you feel that you're in a good spot, just stay there. Breathe into it. Keep your left hip pushing down onto the mat. Your left hand is there to remind you. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, release. And then place your right foot onto the mat From here, lifting your left foot, hooking your strap underneath, and using your hands to gently start to pull your left leg closer to you. Keep your shoulders on the mat, and you can keep a soft bend in your knee here. So we're not looking to hyperextend anything for sure. So keep a little bit of a bend. You're going to feel, even with the knee slightly bent, that lengthening in your hamstrings and behind your calf. If you feel a place where you find a bit of a block, then just sit with that for a moment and breathe into it. See if maybe it releases, and if it does, then you can pull a little bit further. So it's a little bit of a give and take process. Stop when you need to stop, breathe into it. If some space opens up, then you can move into it. Now from here, gently bringing both sides of the strap together and keeping your left hand taking hold of both sides of the strap. And from here, lengthening your right leg out. Again, you want to feel that your right leg is completely glued down to the mat. So keeping your right foot activated, right heel pushing down, right hand on your right hip to remind yourself to keep your right hip pushing down. And again, use your left hand to gently pull your left leg closer to you. Begin to gently open toward the left. And you can continue pulling where you feel like you've got space. And then if you feel like you don't have space, then you stop. Or if you have a wall next to you, like me, then you stop. Your right leg is still firmly planted on the ground. And just let something go. Let something release. And inhale, coming back up. Gently release your left foot. And then bring your right foot up, bend both your legs, widen your knees, and bring your hands above your legs, arms on the inside of your knees, and just let yourself open up and drop. Feel your entire back pressing into the mat, shoulders making their way back. Face grows soft. Take a nice deep inhale into your nose. And exhale everything out. Release your legs, extend them out. Open up your arms, palms facing up. And just let yourself drop heavily into the mat, into Shavasana. Again, with that sensation like you're falling into the softest mattress, like a cloud that just envelops you. It absorbs you. Everything is super soft and super still. keeping everything really weighty and soft. On your next inhale, draw in a little bit more breath. Feel that expansion in your chest, behind your heart. And exhale to release. Feeling all of the space, that new space that you've created. And start to bring your legs together, bring your arms up next to your ears, stretching your toes, your fingers, lengthening through your entire body on a big inhale. And then exhale again, letting everything release. Slowly turn onto your side. You can keep your head on your arm, still letting yourself be weighty. Feeling whatever you're feeling. And then slowly begin to make your way back up to a seated position. And see if this time now that weightiness can stay down on the mat, and everything that you're lifting up is just a lot more spacious. And because it's more spacious, it's a lot lighter. Come into a comfortable seated position. Bring a smile to your face and say a big thank you to yourself for having taken time to move a little bit, create some space in your body, breathe a little bit, and to give yourself a little bit of love. So thank you so much for practicing with me, and I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day.